Good evening and welcome. Tonight's language lesson is going to be Haitian Creole. There you go. I'm just not used to these tips. What are they called? Chisel tips. Good trigger word though. Chisel tips, chisel tips, chisel tips, chisel tips, chisel tips. Anyway, Haitian Creole. If you don't know, Creole is a language that is a combination of mostly French, but also some elements of Spanish and a bunch of other West African languages kind of mushed together. And it was a language developed by African slaves who were brought over to, Creole, the Caribbean, or like Louisiana, all sorts of different French-speaking areas. But this particular dialect is obviously from Haiti. So in Haiti, they refer to their language as Creole, but it's spelled like this. Creole. Creole. One of the things you're going to notice is that they don't have the letter C like that. So whenever you have a hard k sound, it's the letter K. So there goes some music. It's Saturday nights, and one of my rules is don't record on Saturday nights. But I'm in the mood to record, so we're just going to do it anyway. Make sure it's all nice and clean. So let's start off with the alphabet. Of course, we're going to start off with the letter A. Chisel tip. Still not used to it. Letter A. Can you see? Excellent. Letter A, which is not a hard A like apricot, and it's not a soft A either like awesome, which is unusual because a lot of languages that I've studied, A is almost always a soft A, but this is sort of in between. It's an ah sound. Ah, very much like the word apple. Ah, ah. So not A, not ah, ah sounds. We have another version of an A sound. So in Haitian Creole, we have two different kinds of vowel sounds. We have nasal sounds and non-nasal sounds. So this is a non-nasal sound. And obviously a nasal sound means you're going to use your nose, right? So the next letter we're going to see looks like this. And if you haven't seen my other language learning video, I can't write in a straight line, and all the letters are going to be different sizes, so just get used to that now. So this is a nasal sound, the A-N. So what is a nasal sound? Obviously it's with your nose, but we don't have those in English like at all. So how do you make a sound with your nose? So a couple examples I can give you. First is if you want to make like a piggy oink oink sound, like a kind of sound. That's a nasal sound. You make that sound with your nose. Also, the younger audience may not know this, but people of my generation would know. If you know Family Matters, Steve Urkel speaks in a nasally voice. He speaks with his nose, so like this, like with your nose, like that. That's a nasal sound. That's very helpful for a letter coming up. You have to say it like you're Steve Urkel, basically. But another example is, think when you are making like stereotypical French impersonation and you go like ho 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 baguette, like that ho ho sound is a nasal sound, and it's kind of similar to this sound. So this sound is so you have to make it with your nose, and the best way to know if you're doing it right is if you hold up your finger to your nose like you're giving yourself a finger mustache. Like hold up your finger to your nose, say the sound, and if you feel air coming out of your nostrils, then you're doing it right. So try it. It's sound. So I don't really know how to do this in English. So sound, sound. You hear the difference? Non-nasal, nasal. Like that. There's your first two letters in Haitian Creole. Next, let's keep it a little easier. Same as in English, b sound. So it's bay, b sound, b. Next, remember there's no letter C. It's say-ash. And don't get thrown off, because in English this is a ch sound. But in Haitian Creole it's a sh sound. So think like soft C, pretend that's an S. Sh. So like ship, sh sound. Next we have letter D or day, which makes like in English d. Lots of loud cars tonight, but it is Saturday night. D sound, d. Also apologize for my computer whirring. It's processing my two-song overture video, and it's thinking really, really hard about it. Next we have, and there's my squeaky chair. You have to excuse that. Next we have the letter E, and we have 3 different kinds of E's. So let me move them over here, actually. So first one is just a straight E, but it's not pronounced like the English E. Make that a little bigger. There goes my marker. Okay, good. Here we go. Make sure it's nice and clean. It's easier to write. Let me make this bigger because the E's are a little difficult. The E's and the O's are a little difficult in Haitian Creole. Is that the same size? Y'all know it's an E, right? There we go. So this doesn't make an E sound. It sounds like A. So don't think of it as a hard A like apricot, because it's not quite that. I think of it like, think of Canadians when they go like, oh, it's really cold outside, eh? So think of it as an A. Like you're Canadian and you're saying A. Like, how about those leaves, eh? Like that kind of sound. A. So say it with me. A. Sound. Next one is, and another good thing about Haitian Creole is that this is the only accent you're going to see. A lot of languages use a bunch of different accents. This is the only one in Haitian Creole. So this is a grave, or in French it's grave, so I'm used to saying grave. I speak French conversationally, by the way. That's going to come up in a minute. But it's always easy to remember the name of this accent because it goes down to the ground like a grave. It's a grave accent. So this sound, okay, that's not a loud car. This sound is an eh sound. So think of like the word, sure, these markers, too fancy for me. Like the word get, bet, set, eh sound, eh. And that's very different from this. So remember, eh. And the last one's going to be the nasal version. And this one's the tricky one because the French speaker in me reads this as on. In French, this is totally on. And it's so hard to shake this off. This has been the hardest letter to learn for me because I've got that French ingrained into me. And I want to say on so bad, but it is not that sound at all. It's So it's Steve Urkel. And the only way I've really gotten myself to get this sound right is I think back to my MySpace days. Again, I'm dating myself. And when you're really bored, you say meh. So it's kind of that sound, but nasally, right? Sound, Really open your mouth when you say it, And remember, if you feel that air come out of your nostrils, you're saying it right. So these are the E's. We have Do you hear the nasal? Good job. Loud car. Anyway. Next we have F, which makes a f sound in Creole. Next is G, or G, as they would say. And that is just like English g sound. Followed by H, or ash, which makes a h sound, just like English. And I, which is an E sound, so like in the word ink, E sound, E. Out of all the languages I've taught myself, English is the only one where this is I or I. Every other language I know is E, so just always assume it's going to be E, basically. Next is J, or in Creole it's J sound. So don't think this, right? This is J, this is J, don't get confused. But this is not pronounced J like in English, not like an English J. It's more like J sound. J sound. Treasure, pleasure, measure. J sound. J sound. Let's go a little easier. K, K, K sound. L, L, L sound. Oop. M, M, M sound. And N, N, N sound. I miss my old marker. That was just like I have these fine ones, but I'm worried they're too small and they won't show up. But anyway, just like English, K, L, M, N. Exactly the same as in English. Let's mix it up and have this sound. So this is like how you would think it is in English. It's ng, ng, ng. So like the word sing, in English we have ing. This is just ng. So we have ing, but this is not ing. It's no I. Ng, ng. So think ing, but get rid of that I. Ng, 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 ng. Exactly. You got it. Moving on to the O's, we have 5 O's. 5, I'm not kidding, 5 O's. But they're all really, in my opinion, in my francophonie opinion, they're easy to say. So first we have letter O. Now in English we say O, but this is O. So, we say the letter O like we're saying the word O. So don't think of it like that. It's an O sound. O. O. Sorry, that's the next O. 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 Not O. O. Do you hear the difference? Not O. 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 It's an abrupt O sound. So it is like in English, but not quite. O. Not O. O. I hope that makes sense. I know I say that a lot when I do these. And then next we have O with an accent, and this is an aw sound. Aw, aw. So kind of think of like the word or. That's not an O sound. That's not or. It's or, aw sound. Aw. So O, aw. O, aw. They sound very different. But it's easy to mix them up, Next O is the nasal one. So, kind of like this, but use your nose. O. Use that nose. O. This is that baguette sound. Okay. Next we have, this is oo. Ooh, and that's easy because we totally have this in English. It's like zoo, ooh sound, ooh, like a double O sound, like boo, zoo, coo, like that. So one more time, we have O, ah, on, ooh. Do you hear that nasal? O, ah, on, ooh. Exactly. We have one more nasal O, and it's like the softest of all the nasal sounds in this language, and it is this, and this is un. So think like the word moon, un. So it's not quite un sound. You still have that O in there, kind of un. So O's one more time. We have O, ah, on, oo, un. One more time. O, ah, on, oo, un. Exactly. Good job. Next is easy P, just like in English. P sound. There's no Q in Creole. So now we move on to the R. Now, if you know my last video, you know how I feel about the letter R in languages. Every R in every language is completely different. I've yet to find an R that's pronounced the same in any other language, and this is no exception. Sorry if that's a little crooked. I'm a little crooked right now, so. So, before we say this in Haitian Creole, I want you to say it like it is in English. R. R. We kind of say the letter R like we're saying the word R, right? And you say it with kind of the front of your mouth and with your lips, right? R. R. Do you feel your lips moving when you say R? So I want you to say it not in the front of your mouth or with your lips. You're going to say it in the back of your throat without your lips. Ah, 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 like that. Ah, ah, like that. Exactly. And you don't roll it like in a lot of languages, and there's no harsh throat sound with it. Like in French, this is R, like that. This is just R, R. See, I'm so used to doing the throat. The French speaker in me. R, R. They do pronounce this as air, though, the letter air. Kind of like in French, but no sound, thankfully. It's always the hardest part about French is the sounds, like in any language. A little easier, we've got S, which just like in English, S sound, and then T, which just like in English is T sound. And next we have, not quite U, it's we sound, we. So it is a lot like the French word oui, like that. Or you can kind of think of we, or even like we, but you actually no, because you don't want to hold out that E sound. But it's not quite like we, exactly like we say it in English. I want you to say the word we, but before you say it, put your lips like you're about to whistle. But don't whistle. Make like you're about to whistle, and then say the word we. So it's we, like that. We. I'm using my hands, you can't see. We. So not we. Do you hear the difference? Not we. Not we. I know if you don't know French, that might be a little hard to make, but again, put your lips like you're about to whistle and say the word we, like that. Again, I always say, I hope that makes sense. Let's go very easy now. We have V or V, which is a V sound. Then we have W, W sound. We have Y, or, Y, which is Y. And then Z sound. And that's the alphabet in Haitian Creole. So, let's go over it one more time and say it with me. Ready? Just we're not going to say the actual letters. We're not going to go A, B, C, D, or, A, B, C, D like they do in French. We're just going to make the sounds that each letter makes, okay? So we have A, on, B, sh, D, E, un, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, A, on, U, un, P, R, S, T, oui, V, W, Y, Z. I'm going to link in the description this song I found while I was learning this alphabet. It's been in my head for days and days. I've been singing it nonstop, and it ends in fa, wa, ya, za. So it's like all I can hear when I do the end. Check it out. It's really cute. So I'm going to erase each letter. We're going to say it together as I erase. You ready? We've got A. A. It's an apple. A. A. Use your nose. B sound. B. Sh sound. Sh. D. Syntax. D. eh, eh, sound. So many loud cars, I apologize. Ready? Steve Urkel. Eh, 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 sound. Eh. F. G, 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 sound. H, 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 sound. H, E, E, E. J, j, j. K, k, la, la as in love. M, m, na. Ng, 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 ng. O, o, o. I did it wrong. That was O. I'm trying to go quick before any more cars come. That was O. This is O. 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 Sorry if I confused you. O, O, O. I've erased it now. It's too late. Nasal sound. On. On. Ooh. Ooh sound. Ooh. Un. This is my favorite letter. Un. Un. P. P sound. P. P. Ready? Here comes the R. R's are always weird in every single language. Use the back of your throat. R. 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 Sound. R. Almost sounds like a dog. Like a r. R. Yeah, you know, it's kind of a good... Like a big old bulldog. Like r. 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 Sound. R. Sa. Sa. And ta. 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 Oui. 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 Va. Wa. Ya. Za. Va, wa, ya, za. Basha. You gotta check it out. Oh my god, I've been singing it all. Za, ba, ga. I've been singing it non-stop. It's so embarrassing. Thankfully, I live alone. The cat doesn't care about it. Let's learn some numbers. Now, if you know French like me, this is going to be so delightful. And I can't really describe why it's so delightful if you know French. If you studied French in school, if French is your second language like mine. I'll show you. When I do these, I'm going to include 0 if they're easy to say. If it's some complicated way of saying 0, I will include it, but this is so... 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 0 is just good old 0. 0. 0. Easy peasy. Lemon squeezy. Do you remember what this sound makes? It's the word for 1. Get your Steve Urkel out. Exactly. Use your nose. Sound like you're bored on MySpace and go sound. Good job. 2 is d. 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 And here's where it gets... There we go. Here's where it gets delightful if you know French. 3 is toi. Toi. It's so good. I'll explain. So, all these numbers, save for number 1, are the exact same in French, but they're spelled phonetically. In France, or in French language, there's a lot of silent letters, like more so than in English. So, in France, this is toi, toi, and this is de, like that. So, like, that's so satisfying just to see toi instead of toi, like that. Oh, it's great. It just gets better because every letter is the same as in French, but spelled like it makes sense. Ugh, I can't even. Okay, if you know French and you've never heard these numbers or seen them spelled out like this, you're gonna die. Ready? If you don't speak French, you're just gonna have a regular learning experience. But us French-speaking people, this is delightful. This is how it should be. Petition to change the French spelling to Creole because this makes so much more sense. Anyway, 4 is cat. Cat. Show you in French. Cat in French. Oh, it's so good. Sorry, I have to. It's a linguistics thing. I'm so excited for these numbers in Creole. 5 is cinq. Like this, and it's said exactly like sank, like the Titanic sank, just like in French. 6 is six, like that, six, because remember that I sound is E, six. 7 is set, easy, right? Set. 8, I'm gonna write it out, and I want you to remember how to say this letter. This letter right here, do you remember? Put your lips like you're gonna whistle and say oui. So it's wheat, wheat, wheat. Exactly. I always think of like wheat bread, wheat. But again, it's not wheat, wheat, wheat. Remember, push your lips out first before you say it. 9 is neuf, neuf, and 10 is dix. So easy. So easy. Let's say them together. Ready? 0. Steve Urkel time. Ready? Un, deux, trois, quatre, cinq, six, sept, huit, neuf, dix. Let's erase each one and say them. So first we have 0. 0, un, deux, trois, quatre, cinq, six, like cease and desist, cease. Set, like set the table, set. Wheat, like wheat bread, but not pronounced like wheat bread. Wheat, wheat. Neuf, neuf. And dix, dix. Perfect. You can count to 10 in Haitian Creole. And pretty much in French too, but not more complicated. Let's say some phrases to close out the video. So let's say hello. It's like hi, hello is allo. Easy, right? Allo, allo. Exactly. Let's go a little specific and do good morning. Good afternoon. Good evening. And let's do good night too, because it's easy to say. At least I think so. Now again, if you know French, you're about to be like tickled because they're all the same words, but they're spelled phonetically. It's delightful. So, good morning is bonjour. Bonjour. Remember, J is a J sound. Bonjour. Good afternoon is bon après-midi. Bon après-midi. Bon, which means good, obviously. Après-midi. Midi, literally good afternoon. Midi is noon. That's after, good afternoon. Bon après-midi. Bon après-midi. I gotta stop saying it like French. Bon après-midi. Bon après-midi. Good evening is bonsoir. Bonsoir. Again, if you know French, you're dying right now. Because it's the same in French, but not spelled at all like this, although it should be spelled like that. That's perfect. Bonsoir. Bonsoir. So bonjour, bon après-midi, bonsoir. And then good night is bonne nuit, which again, bonne nuit. You ready for this, French speakers? Nuit. That just makes so much more sense than the French one. Bonne nuit. Allô? Bonjour. Bon après-midi. Bonsoir. Bonne nuit. Perfect. Let's say goodbye for now by saying au revoir. Au revoir. Exactly. Au revoir. So one more time we have allô, bonjour, bon après-midi, bonsoir, bonne nuit, au revoir. Perfect. Bonne nuit tout le monde. Au revoir.